So here in the mixing bowl, we are taking some grated Parmesan cheese. We are sprucing it up a bit with some Italian seasoning. Make sure to grab some garlic powder. And I'm not measuring this with anything, I'm just kind of eyeing it. We just want a good mix of all of these ingredients. It's gonna make a base for such a tasty recipe. I do add a touch of paprika to give it a little bit of spice and a smoky flavor. So just go ahead and give this a good mix. You can see that the main star of the show is definitely the Parmesan cheese, so that is exactly what we want. Once this is all mixed, we can go ahead and move this to the side. Okay, so now you're gonna wanna grab a bigger glass dish. We are gonna pour some olive oil at the very bottom. So this is very important to make sure that nothing sticks. So just go ahead and get a little drizzle in there. Just kind of swirl it around until it covers the bottom. We can use a little bit more. So we just wanna get a good base coat at the very bottom because we're gonna be pouring our Parmesan mixture right on top of that. Just go ahead and get your mixture. And you do want to save a little bit, so I'm not going to pour all of it quite in. I'm going to save a tiny bit. We can go ahead and just spread it with your fingers. You don't want to press it down too hard yet. Just make sure to cover all of the edges. So once you have a good base layer, so here I got some golden potatoes. And I did grab the small ones. You can use any size potato that you want. I just find that the small ones for this recipe, they get a little bit more crisp in the oven, so they just taste a little bit better for me. We're just gonna place these with the cut side down and just go ahead and firmly place them down in there. We really wanna make sure that we get a nice crust on this. So this one is definitely for all my cheese lovers. I love making this. This is like a fun appetizer that I like making, especially because it is a little bit different. I feel like a lot of people haven't tried this. So right on top, this part is optional, but I like doing just another little drizzle of the olive oil. Just gives it a little bit more flavor and it helps crisp up these potatoes, which is exactly what we want. You see that the Parmesan that we saved, so this is gonna go right at the very end. Just kind of sprinkle it right on top. So this is gonna go into a 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Just make sure to check on it depending on your oven. Okay, so these are still piping hot. You can see that we have a nice crust at the bottom. So I like taking them out at this point, and I do add a few more things. So I like throwing some bacon bits on top. You just want to do this after it's done cooking, just because I want the potatoes and the Parmesan to really get a good crust on them. And once they're done baking, we can go ahead and throw those on top. We are going to be doing some more shredded cheddar. So you can see this side dish is so appetizing, especially if you're like a bacon and cheese lover like myself. We're just gonna be doing a few more. There we go. So this is gonna go back into the oven, same 400, but this one's only gonna take like 5 to 6 minutes. And look how awesome this turned out. So now my favorite thing to do once it is all cooked, just make sure to grab an oven mitt because this is still really hot. So we're just gonna grab it. We're just gonna start mixing this around, break up some of that Parmesan crust at the bottom. And this is how I like to eat it. So I just kind of break it apart a little bit and then just mix it. And I swear I could eat like this whole dish. If you've never had like fried cheese like this, let me tell you, it tastes absolutely amazing. So I'm just gonna break apart the rest of this. It does take a little bit of work just because the cheese at the bottom. Tell you, look, it is so crispy. Okay, so I'll admit I made this side dish just for myself, so I'm gonna eat straight out of the dish. So you can see I got a nice piece of the cheese and some potato. This is definitely one of my guilty pleasures.